Slices of Life is an exhibit at Montgomery College which focuses on the work of two artists, Serli and Singh. The exhibit in a whole is a multidimensional experience for the viewer with large to small photographs which feature vivid colors, reality, surreal, imagination, fantasy, and it brings the viewer closer to the emotions of the artist.
Slices of Life was formed around the idea of different photographers coming together and introducing the viewer to different glimpses into a sector of somebody else's life or idea.
It's fantastic.
This show came together after discussion last spring when Sonny Jurgensen, which was a former student at Montgomery College, had the idea come from Professor Jones. He'd asked me to be part of it, and I asked Singh, because Singh had led some ideas to have his work presented as well.
Their learning experience brought them from what I believe was a 3-person exhibition to a 2-person exhibition. So part of the experience that we wanted them to have was the idea that they would have to pitch their concept for an exhibition to a gallery director.
I was actually quite surprised when I got a call from Serli, or text rather, that she wanted to offer me a space with her in the exhibit. I was like, why? I mean, my stuff would just not go down well within an educational institution. I was surprised that, especially now after the opening, how well it has been, and just the reception that the staff and the people who walk in, they've given us.
I think it was a tremendous success. Individual items in the show, some I thought were very, very interesting, some I thought were beautiful, and some I thought were a little silly.
My portion of the exhibition deals with photographs that are made up of synergy and music, and for me, photojournalism is the avenue I came in through to get to photography, but less than just documenting people making music. What I noticed after I started photographing was that I was really letting the existing elements, more than a premeditation of technical things, dominate over what was going to be the final product. Really, it was me going into a scene that I loved and letting what I heard, the way I heard, dominate how the images came out. So I was really photographing, oftentimes rhythmically to the music. It's really interesting to think how much emphasis goes into developing your concept and really trying to do things so consciously. But what I've learned is what you're feeling, if that's really ultimately what's supposed to be inside what you're doing, if you let yourself really not put the pressure of that consciousness on it, it will come out anyway. So really that's what I found doing this. I ended up unconsciously getting to that point and then consciously running with it.
I'm presenting Series A, the portraits of the artists, as various characters. The content is majority self-portraits, which show the life of a person or any character from reality, how he thinks, how he might think, how secretly they live, and what they do in their lives. I'm documenting alcoholics in a humorous way. I act as Satan and God at the same time in some of the photographs. I present a personification of love and grief and sorrow. And there are also various influences and photographs drawn from literature, from the works of Pablo Neruda to Shakespeare. In a way, I can say that they're my revelations when I read literature in books. So my visions that I get, instead of being a messiah, I'm just a photographer with a vision.
I think Singh's work, in some respects, was more complex and perhaps more sophisticated, because he really, I think, is pursuing some very idiosyncratic themes, and his work was more thought-provoking. That doesn't mean it was better, it just means it was different.
I knew his work before we got together for the show, but a lot of the work I saw for the first time while we were setting the show up, and I'd be in here for like days on end, sometimes with half the pieces covered, and I would just laugh because, you know, you'd see these parts of a picture and you wouldn't really know what else was going to be revealed to you. So although I'll stand by the fact that the work is just so different from what I can typically appreciate, I really couldn't help but appreciate a lot of the work that I don't think at simply the aesthetic value I would appreciate as much.
I think Serli's work is very much about the energy of music, of performance, the dynamics of color. Color is design. And so her work functioned in a different way on a different level, perhaps more ethereal, and certainly more purely visual.
Serli's work has been really different from mine and just it's inspiring in a different way. When I walked into the show, after the whole thing was hung and I came back on a different day with a peace of mind, I saw a black and white photograph. It's the only black and white photograph in the show. And when I saw it, because I have a biology background, it looked to me like an X-ray of a singer or a musician or anyone. And that attracted me to itself. It definitely caught my attention.
I think what's really powerful about Singh's work is that it's different. You really don't know what to expect, and you can conceptualize and you can understand how he's conceptualizing a lot of it, but you still have to think, like, really, is that what he meant? You know, and you have to almost question yourself in what you want to take out of it, because you just don't really know. So I think it's really unique in that sense, and it's so different from what most people do.
There's another one which I like to call it the helium guy, and the colors, the color combination, the green, the yellow, and the red, it works really well in the image.
The reaction to the show in general, I think people, they just weren't expecting a lot of what was here. So I think people were pleasantly surprised, and not that they were expecting good or bad, I just think that the surprise element came in from the work being different from what they had expected to see.
People have really liked what we've done, but it's a little confusing to people to see all the colorful images matched with some of the rather dark and depressing content of the images. So at first glance, people laugh at it, they love it, but then when they stare at it for a while, they get the deeper meaning behind the images.
I thought it was a good job. In the end, I'm really happy that we gave them that opportunity.
The photography department at Montgomery College, I ended up here because I'm from the area and I had started pursuing photojournalism somewhere else. I came back and I thought, there's a huge opportunity to learn studio work here, which is really not my place of interest, so I registered for some of the classes. One amazing thing about Montgomery College is the resources exist, and I think most people don't really understand the value of that, and the resources at Montgomery College have really been wonderful, and it's more than just the equipment, it's the professors you're working with, because the staff has been really supportive and they give you selflessly a lot of what they know, and that gives you a confidence that you don't have. It gives you the voice of experience that you can't possibly have, regardless of if you're an awesome craftsman or not.
My role as both a teacher primarily and program coordinator secondarily is to help them, to guide them, to show them possibilities, and then have them make choices. And in the end, they sink or swim based on their choices, based on their decisions, but at least they've had the benefit of guidance and feedback. We've got just an amazing array of people here that bring tremendous talent, tremendous skill, and tremendous empathy to what they do.
The department here has just been fantastic. I mean, I started taking classes here personally in 2006 was my first photo class. I'm a biology major and I took photography just for fun, but then I just fell in love with it, the way the teachers taught the course and how passionate they were and how passionate the other students were about it. And then after that, it's just been an amazing experience. Professor Goel, Professor Brian Jones, Professor William Jones, they've been fantastic at helping students and sharing their knowledge with us. And they've always just been there for us whenever we've needed their help. A fantastic experience, just being here, being with the people and the knowledge and the passion which everyone shares here.
By and large, I think we've done a really good job at the mission that the college entrusted us with, and that is to educate students, to guide them, to help them find their own way. So I think that for Serli and Singh, this is the tip of a huge iceberg, and I certainly look forward to seeing their evolution in the years to come.
My wife Freddie and I are collectors of art from just about everywhere. And a few years ago, we were privileged to display a few pieces from our African art collection, and today it's Latin America. And I welcome this opportunity to tell you a little bit about our collection and also the folk art of Latin America.
The purpose of this exhibition of Latin American art and Haitian art is to show the art as it exists from these cultures all over the world, as teaching tools to show the art that the students make relate to this art, and to inspire them, to show them methods and materials and contexts, the cultures from which they come and are used. They could make something like this.
When I graduated from college, I used whatever pennies I had saved to travel, and that's how it all began. And because I lived in Miami, the Caribbean and Latin America was a natural. And we ended up going pretty much to everywhere in Latin America. We visited most countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. And as we started saving our money, we started bringing back souvenirs. And the souvenirs were, at first, trinkets and things that you'd normally see. But as we worked, and I'm a journalist and my wife is a nurse, and we're saving our money, we brought back some more sophisticated things, better examples of what people were making in these countries. And what they were making primarily was folk art. In my view, folk art has two components. There's the folk, and then there's the art. And the art we collect surely has helped us better understand the folk. That is the communities of people that we have encountered and visited in many places around the world. Probably about 10 years ago, we got a call from Professor Francine Farr of Montgomery College. And Professor Farr has a long background as a curator. She asked us if we wanted to loan some pieces to an exhibit at the Inter-American Development Bank Cultural Center in downtown Washington.
I discovered his collection, and was just floored by the quality and the quantity of what he had collected.
And then Professor Farr went back to Professor Joyce Jewell at Montgomery College and told her about our collection. So one day I received a call from Professor Jewell, and she said, "We're doing an African show, and we understand you have some African pieces, and would you be willing to do the show with me?" And we said, of course.
It was really a great event, and that then led to this.
In 2010, Professor Jewell said, "We're going to do a Latin American show. Would you be interested in doing that as well?" And we were just delighted.
I had the distinct pleasure of organizing this show with Bill, and I want to publicly thank him and Freddie for their generous loan of this portion of their collection, which they refer to as family members. So when you put family members on loan, we're especially grateful that you trusted us with them.
We have many different types of art in our collection. We have paintings, for example. One of my favorite painters is Prosper Pierre-Louis from Haiti. And his father was a Hugon, a voodoo priest. And so he was influenced by what he saw growing up. And so a lot of the themes of his paintings are of voodoo scenes and loas, who are Haitian voodoo spirits. We also collect wood carvings done by Mexican woodcarvers in the state of Oaxaca in Mexico and in the villages around the city of Oaxaca. We collect masks. We probably have about 200 masks now. And we just love to go to countries and learn about the different celebrations that occur during the year, festivals, and the types of masks that are worn. We have about 300 Cuban silkscreen movie posters in our collection, and we really enjoy that collection. Another thing we collect is ceramics, principally from Mexico. There's a town about an hour from Mexico City, and it's called Metepec. Many decades ago, probably in the 1930s, they started an art form called the Tree of Life. They're these giant ceramic pieces, and sometimes small, but the better ones are the really large ones. And they'll show scenes of different festivals that take place in Mexico. And we have one particular piece that we just adore, and it shows different dances that take place in the entire country of Mexico. Another thing we collect is textiles, and that might include voodoo flags from Haiti, which are sequined and beaded, and they depict various spirits and figures in the voodoo pantheon. And a lot of other textiles as well from Peru, from Ayacucho, and we have a couple of those pieces in the exhibit at Montgomery College that we're really proud of. Also, pieces that were done by the Shipibo people of northeastern Peru. This is the Amazon region of Peru. And they make these wonderful textiles that are used actually for women's clothing as well as for decorative pieces. The figures on these textiles are actually hand-drawn, and they're made from dyes that are made from insects. as well as vegetables. So we think they're particularly beautiful and special. This is a
yes.
metal piece,
Yes.
and these were created from oil drums, right?
Right, recycled. Like so many materials in Haiti where there isn't store-bought materials and keeping costs down, they recycle literally everything. These are recycled oil drums that are hammered and flattened out and then cut into these very elaborate, open-worked forms. This particular collection of Latin American art has not really been shown before as a specific subject area. So we hope that by showing this wonderful collection that one day soon we will be able to get a course launched serving the many Hispanic students that we have in this area at Montgomery College, but also non-Hispanic students are also interested.
My father, Dino Aranda, is from Nicaragua, Managua, Nicaragua, and I have been exposed to like the art that he's been creating for all of my life, and to see art from cultures like his and from other like Latin American cultures like represented here is it's really fantastic. It's a really great way to see how art and culture like are a part of one another.
My father's from Bolivia and my mother's from Colombia, and being an MC art student, I've acquired a bunch of art tastes, but to come down here to my own school and see my heritage, my father's homeland artwork, my mother's homeland artwork, to be presented in this wonderful exhibit is just thrilling.
I think it's really great to introduce like students, American students, to art from all around the world and not just from the United States. All different cultures have their own specific voice and perspective on the world, and it's really wonderful to see that come across in different sorts of mediums that one can relate to, such as paintings or different kinds of sculptures or tapestries. So there's something for everyone to connect with.
So many cultures have been brought here for everyone to see, for everyone to experience, and to gather inspiration from.
If I'm in a country where I have no fluency or no knowledge of a language, I have a guide. And guides are easy to find. You just, hotel you're staying at, you just, there's always someone there who speaks English, and they're just delighted, you know, to take you out, not only to make some extra money, but to show you their community. Montgomery College, it's stunning how many nationalities are represented in the college, and it's got to be one of the most diverse colleges anywhere. And one of the things that I really enjoyed during the lectures I've done there is the diversity in the audience at the lectures. And it's not only students. The lecture was great because you not only had professors there from the college, you had students from all over the world, and you had members of the community.
Young and old and all kinds of students from all over can be inspired and can learn from it all.
This is a wonderful program that's open to so many people, and just as this is for the students and the faculty, it's for everyone in the community. And I think that's one of the best things about MC, is that it's about the community.
You look like you're all just enjoying looking at the art, and you should be. That's what this show is all about. The name of this show is Earth, Fragile Planet. It's a traveling exhibition that originated in the Society of Illustrators in New York. That's a national organization of professional illustrators. The images you see here reflect the artist's attitudes and desires to help protect the planet in some way. This actual show was divided into 5 categories: earth, air, water, energy, and wildlife. And so you'll see a variety of illustrations on one of those particular topics. The Society of Illustrators is a national organization based in New York City, and this particular exhibit was the brainchild of two employees that work at the Society of Illustrators. This is Tara Jacoby. She and Kate Feiertag were looking at a book at the Society of Illustrators that was 20 years old, and it was called Art for Survival. As they were looking through the images in this book, they realized how many of these images are still relevant today. That after all of these years, there are still a lot of environmental problems. And they wanted to organize a show to commemorate the 20th anniversary of that original book. This exhibit actually contains a variety of different kinds of media that were used. We could divide it, between digital and traditional, but within that there's just about every kind of technique used. Murray Tinkelman's exquisite pen and ink drawings. We have Greg Harlan's beautiful watercolor. There's a lovely collage, torn paper collage piece in the show. Oils, lots of gouache, and lots of mixed media. There's a beautiful piece here that was acrylic and colored pencil. Another beautiful piece by Joe Chardello, which is pen and ink plus watercolor. And Jack Unruh, who also uses pen and ink combined with other media. So there's a huge variety of media in the show. I particularly love this one. I particularly love all of them. Everything in this show is a standout. Kanuko Craft, her piece entitled Gaia, is an absolutely exquisite image. If you view it from a distance, you see the planet Earth, you see there's a female figure within the Earth, and there's an explosion going on. Then as you get closer to it and see the incredible amount of detail that she has included and the way she's been able to juxtapose imagery within that small area, it's just an exquisite piece. Murray Tinkelman's work. Murray has specialized in working with pen and ink. A number of my students were admiring his piece and were just amazed at his ability to create so much texture, so much value, so much volume with simply using pen and ink. Kate Feiertag's piece is an incredibly interesting subject matter about this huge garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean, which I didn't know anything about. And Kate's piece is a beautiful use of mixed media. She's used gouache and watercolor and colored pencil, I believe. It's another one of those pieces that as you get closer to it, you start to see details that you didn't see at a distance. Dugald Sturmer's piece, when I first saw that, I thought it was digital. And then when we saw the real piece when the show got here, I realized that it was colored pencil on black board. And it's just an amazing piece. It's another one that a lot of the students have responded to because the technique is just so exquisite. Greg Harlan's piece, an exquisite watercolor, very similar to a lot of his work, compositionally very striking and telling a very strange story.
The name of my piece is The Year Without Summer, and it was originally used as part of a magazine article in Smithsonian Magazine that was about the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia, the fallout of which affected global environments. It spread a cloud of dust that reduced global temperatures enough to affect all kinds of cycles, and it caused freezes in North America for that whole summer that killed crops. My illustration depicts a farmer as he's just getting to see that his crop is frozen, his crop of corn is frozen.
Most of these pieces, the content plus the technique is what is evoking such a strong response from people. The technical proficiency as well as their ability to tell a story and to communicate. It's really wonderful when you get an opportunity to create art that is about something that's near and dear to your heart, and to be able to use your art in a way that may affect change, may help change the world and make it a better place. Like many of the artists here in the exhibit, I'm also inspired by nature and the great outdoors, wildlife in particular. It's always a wonderful opportunity when I get the chance to create a work of art that speaks to the environment or speaks to protecting nature and wildlife. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart and near and dear to the hearts of some of the other artists you see here. And it's something I want to share with my students.
I'm very pleased with the diversity of the work that's found here, everything from digital media to traditional illustration with gouache and ink.
Professor Vaughn and the other professors putting on this exhibit really helped the awareness, and with Rockville being a bigger campus than the other campuses at Montgomery College, this was a great place for it.
I'm also very interested to see that each illustrator took a very personal look, and through each of their lenses, how they viewed the urgency in which we need to take care of our planet.
People can walk in here in between classes, it's open, and they just get to spend time in here and they get to appreciate art a little bit more, and also get to appreciate the planet as well, since this is all about the planet.
I think it's essential for every college and institution to teach and to inform students and faculty about the issues that are going on in society and the environment and global warming. You know, these are issues that affect all of us and will affect future generations. So I think it's absolutely a necessity for the college to put on events like this.
I feel like every community has to have some sort of responsibility about how we respect and treat our environment.
I think the Fragile Planet exhibit will help promote the mindset of being more environmentally aware among students.
Gorgeous technique, gorgeous painting, gorgeous drawing, and also powerful content. And so that's what illustration is. It's making art that communicates. The graphic design and illustration program here in the CAT department at Montgomery College offers a wide variety of graphic design and technical courses for our students. We bring our experience and our technical knowledge into the classroom and share it with our students, both anecdotally and by teaching them technique. We each bring a different experience into the classroom, but we share those experiences with our students. A lot of times will give the students assignments that are similar to professional assignments that I have had as a professional illustrator.
I was really impressed with the class that I met. It seems like it's as good as an illustration class that I've ever been to. It's more advanced than the one that I went to myself.
Montgomery College has a wonderful array of classes for the art department in digital arts and traditional arts, and it's really nice to see them pull this together for the students to see how real art in the real world works.
This is by Peter DeSev, who is a well-known illustrator, does a lot of work for the New Yorker magazine. This is just his sketch, and I love that this is in the show because my students can see what sketches look like. That's what we do all the time, and that's what everybody's sketches look like. This is an absolutely beautiful show, and I was delighted that we had the opportunity to bring it here. Anytime I can share an exhibit like this with my students and with the college, I consider it a real opportunity. It's the subject that's near and dear to my heart, and when I can share it with the larger population here at the college, I feel very rewarded.